Hi, thanks for joining me today. I was down at the tip the other day, and as I like to do when I'm down there, I poke my head into the tip shop to see if there's anything worthwhile picking up. And I stumbled across this beauty. So let's see if we can resurrect it today. Welcome to the basement. So we're going to have a look at this drill that I've essentially pulled out of the garbage and see if we can get it going. Before we do though, there is something I'd like to say, and that is to thank the sponsor of the channel, PCB Way. If you are looking to make a project or do anything with electronics that involve PCBs, then you need to check out PCB Way. Not only are they a great place to get your PCBs, did you know they also do CNC machining and they do 3D printing? And they can build your project for you. So they're actually a one-stop shop for you to prototype any product that you're developing or any hobby that you're making as well. So if you're interested in any kind of electronics making, why don't you head over to PCB Way, kind sponsor of today's video. So like most industrial or heavy duty tools, this one has seen a hard life on the building site by the looks of it. Now, if we have a look on the side here, we can see there is a 640. It's scratched out, but I can just make it out. And we can see 3 letters here that would have said Dyna Drill across the bottom. This is a Ramset Dyna Drill model 640. Quite old now, but I reckon we may be able to resurrect this. Now, I know we can see that obviously the cord's been cut. And from working on building sites, I do know that when a tool gives out and you've had enough, sometimes the temptation is snip the cord, chuck it in the bin, buy a new one, carry on with the job. And maybe that's happened with us and the issue is not that big, so we might be able to fix it. So I'm not too concerned about the cord being cut. The other reason is sometimes the cords get cut when they fail their test and tag and they're no longer safe. They cut the cord, chuck the tool away. If there's no more value in the tool, and get a new one. So I think we may be able to get it going. We'll have to open it up and see. It's got a really nice clicky trigger and it's got this speed selector here. So I'm assuming 1 makes the tool rotate, and on 0 it won't rotate. It'll just be the hammer function in case you want to have a chisel in there or other kind of breaker. We've got these hatches on the side, and I believe that they contain the brushes for this machine, which could be a point of failure, so we'll check that out. If we have a look at this end of the drill, we can see that there's quite a long sort of a chuck thing happening. Well, the actual chuck is just this piece here. It's designed to take these tri-load bits. This is actually an adapter, which will then convert it to take standard SDS bits, which are far more common in impact tools. So we're quite lucky to have that adapter on there, because without it, it'll only take those tri-load bits, and I don't see many of them around. Far more common to get the SDS bits, which I've got a bunch of. So if we can get it going, it'll be quite a useful tool. I think the first step to seeing if we can get this going is to pull the handle apart and see what's going on with the wiring. So let's do that now. Okay, that's all the screws taken out of the handle. Let's take it off and see what we can see underneath. Okay, we're inside the handle. This switch is a likely candidate to be failed, so we'll test continuity across the switch. And this is the other component here, and I believe it's a suppression capacitor. It's in between the switch and the brushes by the looks of it, and it looks a little unhappy. It's sort of exploded a bit. So this is also a likely candidate for failure. So we'll pull the switch out, test that, and then we'll pull this out and test that. Okay, we have the multimeter set to continuity mode. Let's put it on the switch and click the switch. So that side's working. We'll check the other side. Okay, that's working fine. So I'm confident there's nothing wrong with the switch. I'll give it a clean up and a bit of lubricating oil, and it can go back into the handle. So the next thing we'll look at is this suppression capacitor. So we've got the capacitor out of the handle, and I'm pretty sure that this is the problem. It's not supposed to look like this. It's been exploded at some point. You can also see that here on the lead here, it's been squashed between the handle and expose the wiring as well. So yeah, this will need to go in the bin, and we'll have to find some sort of replacement for this. So let me make a few phone calls and we'll see where we get to. Okay, so I made a few calls. The first call was to Ramset, and they were not helpful at all. When I mentioned the model of the drill, he just said, nope, it's obsolete. And he was even reluctant. I said, look, I've got the part number. Could you please just search for it? And he reluctantly searched for it. Well, he said he did, and came back straight away and said, no, we don't have any of that, it's obsolete, chuck it away. Now, I don't need it as a drill. I've actually got a fairly recent Ramset drill, so, you know, like, I don't actually need this drill, but I was trying to explain to him, hey, I just want to see if it can be fixed, keep it out of landfill, maybe it's useful for someone. If it's only like a small part that needs replacing, is there like some other replacement I can put in here? But he wasn't interested. Anyway, I took it to a local place in town that repair industrial equipment, and he was very helpful. So he had a look at this suppression capacitor. He found a similar value suppression capacitor and got it in for me. Here it is, and explained to me how to wire it up. So thank you, James, if you're watching, appreciate your help. So what we're going to do is wire this in. I'll show you how to do it, and we're also going to replace the cutoff lead on this tool. I've got here a 15 amp extension lead, which I used for a different project, and I'm using the wire out of that because it's really heavy duty, and you need heavy duty wiring on these sort of tools. They cop a lot of abuse around jagged concrete and other abrasive materials. So that'll be a good lead, nice and long too, because there's nothing worse than a short lead on a power tool. All right, let's get to it. So I'll just show you a quick visual representation of how the wiring is going to work. We've got our active and neutral coming in from the switch, and they wire onto that post and then off to the motor, and the same thing happens on that side. Nice and easy. Let's get to it. Well, that's the soldering done. Let's put some heat shrink on there and keep everything safe and secure. So we've got our newly built suppression capacitor. We'll put it back in the handle. We'll put our new lead on there and, well, find out if it actually works. Hopefully there's nothing mechanically wrong with it. I'm assuming it's just an electrical problem. There's only one way to find out. Get it back together and we'll see. Okay, all back together. I'll just run you through what I've done. I cut the earth lead because this is a class 2 tool, doesn't need to be earthed, and this is just a generic extension cord, so it has the earth in it. So cut that, don't need it. And we've brought our active and neutral into the switch. From the switch, it goes through our new suppression capacitor and into the chock block, which then goes through to brush on either side of the motor. So fingers crossed, it should be good to go. Let's put the handle back on and plug it in, see what happens. Okay, I'm just going to plug it in and we'll pull the trigger and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't explode. So far so good. And moment of truth. Hey, it works. And it seems to be working fine. Let's put a drill bit in it and see if it actually drills through concrete. Okay, so we're outside the basement. I've got a little concrete wall here outside, so I'll just drill into that and we'll see if the tool actually works. Well, it's all fixed and it's working great. Just goes to show that there's a lot of life left in these old tools, and sometimes they get thrown away all for the sake of a $1 part and a few bits and pieces that I already had lying around the basement. So this is going to join my arsenal of tools, and it's going to just be a spare or a backup to my regular hammer drill and enjoy its retirement. You've been in the basement. Have a great day.